What makes you so special? Everybody worries about something.
Well, that's exactly what makes me so special. I don't even have to floss.
Oh.
What?
Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to Binging with Babish, where this week it's Groundhog Day, so we're taking a look at the angel food cake disgustingly eaten by one of my favorite actors in one of my favorite movies of all time, Groundhog Day. To make angel food cake, we need 8 or 9 eggs at room temperature. A quick way to bring them to room temperature is to place them in tepid water for about 15 minutes. I say 8 or 9 eggs because we need 350 grams of egg white, and your mileage may vary depending on the size of your eggs. So we're separating and weighing those out into the bowl of a stand mixer, which we're going to place into the stand mixer. Add 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract and beat on medium-high speed for about 30 seconds until light, frothy, and snotty. Sorry, that's kind of gross, but accurate. Next up, we're combining half a teaspoon of kosher salt with 360 grams of sugar, tiny whisking to combine, and then very slowly sprinkling about half the mixture into the beating egg whites. Once you got about half of that added, set it aside, and continue to beat the egg white mixture on high speed until it forms a light, fluffy, sticky mass known as a French meringue. We're beating this to stiff peaks. That is, when you remove your wire whisk, a stiff peak should remain. Then we're sifting together the remaining sugar and 125 grams of cake flour onto a sheet of parchment. This is going to create a very charming little mountain, which we're going to dump directly into our meringue with the assistance of our parchment. And now we have to very gently and carefully fold the dry ingredients into the meringue. There's no baking powder or baking soda or other leaveners in angel food cake, so in order to keep the cake light and fluffy, we need to not deflate the egg whites that we've so carefully inflated. So once you got the mixture nice and smooth, it's time to dump it into a tube pan. We're not greasing with any butter or oil because we need the cake batter to stick to and climb the sides of the pan. Get the batter all in there and smoothed out, wipe down the sides of the pan, and place it into a 350-degree Fahrenheit oven for anywhere from 30 to 40 minutes, until it's golden brown and looking very much like an angel food cake. Now, one of the quirky parts about these cakes is that they have to be cooled upside down. This prevents their delicate interior from collapsing during the cooling process. So we're giving this guy at least 2 hours standing on its head before even attempting to extract. To do so, we need to run a knife or thin cake spatula like this one around the outside, because like I mentioned before, the cake needs to stick to the side of the pan to remain voluminous. Most angel food cake pans have a removable bottom. If yours does not, make sure you line the bottom with parchment paper, otherwise you ain't never gonna get it out. Don't worry too much about its rough texture, that's part of an angel food cake's charm, and since the one in the movie clearly had a pink sort of whipped cream on it, we get to decorate ours and cover up our mistakes. Given that it was pink, I'm going to make a raspberry whipped cream. We're starting off with 2 cups of heavy cream in a big old bowl, sifting in a half cup or about 60 grams worth of powdered sugar, adding a 1/4 teaspoon of kosher salt and a 1/2 teaspoon of oh dear. Well, if I may quote the movie, you can't put that anywhere, pal. Good save. Once we've retrieved our mise cup, we're going to add 1 teaspoon of raspberry extract. And then to bring that faux raspberry pink color, I'm adding pink and red food coloring. Then using a hand mixer or a stand mixer or a wire whisk and your pure upper body strength, we're whipping it to stiff peaks. And we're almost ready to decorate, but I've got one more thing I want to whip up. I've got a 1/2 cup of raspberry jam and a tablespoon of water that I'm going to melt over low heat, allow to cool, and then use to glaze some fresh raspberries. Just toss them together a little bit to make sure that they're evenly coated, and you'll have some shiny, elegant raspberry jewels to place atop your cakey crown, which we're going to decorate simply by dumping all the whipped cream on top and spreading it down the sides of the cake. As you can see, my whipped cream looks a little rough, and that's because I definitely overbeat it, but using one of these elegant cake patterns around the outside of the cake should make it look a little more professional. Clean up any rough edges, clean up the cake stand, and then it's time to place our berries. To make sure that they're evenly spaced, I like to place 1 at the top, then 1 at the bottom, 1 on each side, and then fill in the spaces in between each berry. And that's all there is to it. Make sure you slice with a serrated knife using a sawing motion, as this cake is very easy to squish. And as you can see, I definitely didn't let it cool long enough. It kind of collapsed a little bit, but it's absolutely delicious. It's simple, light, and tasty, and the best part is you can fit a whole slice into your mouth at once if you try hard enough. I'm kidding, don't try this at home. Leave this to me and Bill Murray and other food experts. I hope you guys celebrate by watching Groundhog Day, maybe making a cake and not eating it in
What?
Hey, what's up guys? This is very strange. I'm having the oddest sense of deja vu. I'm sure that we just did angel food cake from Groundhog Day, but here we are, so let's make us a cake, I guess. Here we need 9 egg whites at room temperature. The best way to do this is with some water. You know, Bill Murray used his time loop as an opportunity to learn a few things, so I'm going to try some stuff different. First off, I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of cream of tartar to our egg whites. This is going to help give us a more stable emulsion. I'm also not going to beat it as much. Apparently, bringing it all the way to stiff peaks can cause your cake to collapse, so I've got some nice soft peaks here. The combination of these 2 changes should make it easier to fold in the dry ingredients without collapsing the egg whites. Next up, my cake definitely had some bubbles on its exterior where the batter didn't need the pan. So I'm starting by adding about 1/3 of the batter and pressing it firmly into all the corners, followed by the rest of the batter, which I'm going to smooth out and make sure that the pan is extra clean. This is going to make getting the cake out of the pan a little easier. Next, I feel like the last cake was a little overbaked, so I'm going to leave it in the 350-degree Fahrenheit oven for about 5 minutes less. And as you can see, it's taller, it's got a more even top, and I'm poking it rather than patting it. We're still turning it upside down to cool it off, but this time I'm letting it go for at least 3 hours. I want to make sure that it's totally cool so that it does not collapse. Do my surprised hands gesture that I forgot to do. Then pretty much the same procedure from here. We're loosening the sides of the cake from the pan, popping it out, and as you can see, much more consistent exterior and no concave sides. Then just comes the whipped cream frosting, which I'm only going to make 1 tweak to. I'm going to stabilize it using gelatin. I'm going to slowly dissolve 1 tablespoon of unflavored gelatin in a 1/4 cup of ice water. Once that's all dissolved and no dry spots remain, we need to melt it in a double boiler, but just until it's melted, not hot. Set that aside to cool off a little bit, and we're making our whipped cream as before, maybe with a little extra food coloring for a more dramatic pink. But just before the whipped cream becomes light and fluffy, we're going to slowly stream in our gelatin mixture, continuing to beat until we reach stiff peaks, but taking care not to overbeat. And there you have it, stabilized whipped cream, which will keep its shape for days, unlike regular whipped cream, which will start to deflate after a couple of hours. We're going to decorate our cake as before, this time using a different cake pattern because we feel like it. Clean up any rough spots, clean up the cake stand, dot with raspberries, and as you can see, it's a pretty noticeable improvement. It's taller, it's fluffier, it's smoother, it's pinkier. Just goes to show that baking is truly a science and that the slightest tweaks to ingredients or methodology can produce dramatic results. And Groundhog Day at its core was about growing and learning to be a better version of yourself. And I feel like I've accomplished that today. I wonder if this is going to be my Bill Murray moment where I finally break free of the
What?
Okay, screw this. It's time to take a page out of Phil Connor's book. Wow, they really don't make these things like they used to. I bought this alarm clock specifically because it looked cheap and smashable. Bill Murray did it with his bare hands, and I'm using all my strength and tools, possibly permanently ruining my tabletop. There we go. It's dead. I am free. Happy Groundhog Day, everybody.